5 years ago, just escaping COVID, and had no direction with my life, just literally chilling and then selling ice cream on the beach. Okay. So this is the kind of start of the story. I had mental health struggles for 7 years of my life. I don't really have a way to describe it, just not happy, anxiety, depression for a period of time. Life just didn't have meaning. I spent with me and my family multiple six figures in the States, going to hospitals, therapy, church, meditation, breath work, spiritual, woo, everything. Nothing really worked. It was entertaining my ego more than anything. After going through all this, I was 37 years old and I decided to just take a dive and go try mushrooms, psychedelics in Mexico. And I went down, I was on a beach, I was with a shaman, with a fire, and I had an experience that changed my life. I don't have an explanation, but God came down and just took half of my stuff, if that makes sense. And I came out of this just with a peace that was present. And I didn't have anything to stress about. But number one, I was curious what had happened. And number two, this is something that the world must know about. During those times of depression, I'd look around the world and I'd be like, half of these people are not living a full life. I sat there for 30 days after this experience and just questions going through my mind. What do I want to do with this? Because the slate was cleared. When you have a clear slate, you have the opportunity to build something. And during this time period, I realized that, so I did this on the beach, the shaman, or really low key, kind of type 2 type fun. Through the grapevine, I heard that people were paying $5,000 for mushroom retreats and curated experiences, that sort of thing. So I realized that this was a tangible business and that this could be done at a really high level. Because not everybody's going to go say kumbaya on the beach, right? At that time, I started putting together an offer to basically do mushroom retreats. And I wanted to build something that really everybody would want to attend and want to say yes to. From you, Oprah, everybody. Because I knew this special gift was important enough to make it great, right? And so I put together an offer and started selling retreats, basically. And so this whole talk is going to be a summary of what I did from that point, getting to a business where we have 3 retreats now, and we're doing 1.2 million a quarter, just doing retreats in Mexico. And so I did this with no capital. I have a course called Scale Your Retreat. This is obviously a 30-minute thing, but I basically just go through literally every single step that I did to launch this business and automate it. Because what's happened over time is created a business and created a life that's the business runs on its own. And so I don't have to be there. It's something that's actually fulfilling to be a part of. For context, before I did all this, I did roofing companies in the States. That was probably a part of my mental health problems, is that I was just doing shit I didn't love. And one of the things I learned in this business is that you can do things that you love. You can help people become happier, become healthier, become more of themselves. Do a business around it, actually monetizing. I think this is a key to life, to unlocking yourself. Make abundance real. Like literally just make something that actually reflects your nature. And so I'll go over a couple of the key points that's in the course, how I got this started. So the most important aspect of a retreat is your offer. And this is really any service business. An offer is basically how you communicate what you do. And so it's the words, the pictures, the everything that makes what you do great. Does anybody host retreats here? You do? What do you do? Okay, that's what's up. Perfect. I'm glad you're here. So anybody else? Any service businesses, Reiki healers, stuff like this? We just didn't. Okay, that's what's up. Okay, cool. So that's perfect. The way I built these offers, if you build the offer right, everything else just rolls downhill. And so we do mushroom retreats. Mushroom retreats are solving mental health issues, which is super expensive, super difficult, basically no practical resource that's going to get you across that finish line. And so my story, I spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to fix this. And then we charge between 5 and 8 grand to solve this problem. And so when you build an offer, you want to make sure that offer is something that creates so much value that it's non-negotiable. This person has to do this thing, right? And so we have on a sales team. They're just communicating this on the phone. It's cool. What are your issues? What are the things you're struggling with? How is this impacting your life? And then after you get into those details, you have the opportunity to pitch your offers. This is what we do here, right? We do emotional retreats, we do psychedelic retreats, and we can help you solve this problem. Here's Jimmy, here's Susie, here's Larry that did the exact same thing that you're about to do and actually got a profound result. And so when you build an offer that solves a super expensive, super difficult problem, it's really easy to sell. And so that's how you want to think about your offer and how you want to sell your offer. This makes something that's non-negotiably the most amazing thing on earth. For me, this is more valuable than anything that's ever happened in my life besides being born and maybe having a loving mother. And so that's one big piece of the puzzle is that offer. And the other thing is the ability to sell. When I got into this, I literally just picked up the phone. I knew nothing about psychedelics, by the way. And I'd never done a retreat. I've never even wanted to do a retreat before this. And so I just started picking up the phone and just talking with people and helping to understand their problem. And sales in a nutshell is helping people understand that there's a solution to their problem and there is a pathway to that solution. And that pathway has to be your business or your service. And so anytime you get on the phone with people, we always say, cool, what's your intention for attending a retreat? And they start spilling beans about what's going on in their life, how the relationships impacting them, how their business is impacting them, how they feel on a day-to-day basis. And so you want to diagnose the problem and then take that problem and you don't want to leave them in that problem state. That problem state of being is a state of suffering. And so after you listen to what's going on in their life, you want to make a change for that pain point and then shift it into a solution state, which is a belief that something's getting better, that we are going to move into a positive direction. And so basically the way you do that is you ask, how would you like your life to look? We understand there's a problem. How would you like your life to look? After you go through this transformation, after you attend the mushroom retreat, how would you like your relationship to look? How would you like your family dynamics to look? How would you like to travel? How would you like to move into a place where you're doing healthier diet, working out, doing good things for yourself? What would that look like for you personally? And get that person into a place where they are being, they have become that new version of themselves. This is basically what happens on any sales call. Sales calls are just transmutation. It's taking someone from a negative state to a positive brief state. And then all of a sudden you have a solution. And then that solution becomes obvious to them. And then that's when they make that choice. And so after you diagnose the problem, put them into the solution state, you want to obviously tell them what you do and how this thing is going to work for them. And so that conversation basically goes, why do you think that this is going to help you? Right? That person reached out to you on the phone. They already believe in what you do, right? They just want verification. So have them understand mushrooms. Well, I saw this documentary. Well, I had a brother that went through this, who tried mushrooms, and it looks like he did really well. He's cured depression, has moved on in his life. He's become happier. And so you have people basically hypnotize themselves. This is literally what happened, that this is going to be the solution for them. And then the final thing that closes the deal is your retreat is the place to have this solution happen. And so then you basically talk about, why us? Why our retreat? Why are you reaching out to me specifically? Why do you think that this is going to help you? And then, well, you guys are by the ocean. You have a nice little team of doctors and practitioners, all these things, breath work and wellness, these things I know and I believe in are going to work for me. As a matter of fact, I need a vacation. I need to get away. And so every single sales call, you're just asking questions. You're helping this person understand this is a place that they're going to release, if they're going to relax, and they're going to find this new state of being that they're looking for. And so this is the three things that we do on every sales call. I closed the first $1 million in business just on the phone. And then after that, I've listened to hundreds of sales calls with my team. And I do the same thing with every single call. And everyone that doesn't close, one of those three things didn't get done. And that's it. And so my associate was indoctrinated with the way that we do this. And Kaylee's the one closer. She's doing $350,000 a month just herself closing. And so this is the fundamentally what we figured out. And also selling a retreat business is literally maybe the easiest thing on earth as selling paradise. Is you want to go hang out in a beautiful place, heal love from all these wonderful people and become happy again. And so that's a sales side. And that's it. Don't ever overcomplicate it. That's all you're really doing, no matter what you're selling, whatever service you're providing. It's those three things. It's basically helping diagnose a problem, putting it into a solution state, and then tying your special sauce, whatever you do, to that solution, and then income, right? And you got to take a credit card, right? Yeah. So at that dorms. So after you have the bare bones of retreat and you sell, you have to market it. Marketing is essentially how you communicate what you do, right? And you want to communicate what you do with literally all of your potential clients, right? The people's clients obviously have money. They have something they want to have solved in their life, and they need a solution. And so when I started this business, here's the thing about business: 80% of every single industry is basically owned by 2 or 3 businesses. So if you're thinking about soda, so Pepsi and Coke, right? We don't know the third, right? And so it's literally, that's every single industry: cell phones, Apple, and Samsung. And so if you go into a business, you have to think big in order to have a significant slice of a market. And so thinking big on a tangible level is having your marketing being omnipresent. So that means people go to a search engine, they type in whatever your retreat does, you're top 3 and the thing. And so when I started this, I mentioned it was bootstrapped. So I had no money to even launch this. And so a fast way to grow a business without having capital is using other people's authority, other people's audiences. And the way you can do that online is there's directories. Directories are basically platforms like Yelp that host a bunch of other businesses and then rank those businesses. And so whatever niche that you do retreats in, there's going to be directories. For us, there's Healing Labs, Third Wave, Retreat Guru. Go make a list of those directories. Those directories get over 1 million unique followers to their site every single month. And so I built this business to look, we've been around forever. And I also looked at all the other retreats in the space. For context, I want to make things easy for myself. And so you don't want to reinvent any wheel. You ever try to change somebody? It's like shaking a mirror. You don't really change people. You literally just understand what they're already choosing. And then to really do great in business, get in front of where they're spending that money already. And so that's what I did. I looked at the psychedelic retreats that were doing really well. And I looked at the other just wellness type retreats that are doing very well. As I'm going to take what I believe, what I feel is the best aspects of these things and just put an offer out. And I'll figure out how to deliver it later on. Great. Don't get your own way. We'll figure it out. So I did that. And then I posted us on every single directory. And then I paid those directories to let us. So it was just the money for them. I was ranked. And then I called up some of the owners of those directories. And I was like, can you put us number 1? They're like, yeah, we don't care who's number 1. And I was like, is it? I was like, yeah. So I was literally number 1 within weeks. And we ended up closing $225,000 our first quarter. I was like, is this real? I was selling ice cream on the beach a month ago. On God. And so still kind of tripping. Yeah. That is why recent cheating. And I want you to do this in your own business. Is make an offer that is just incredible and then market it in ways that are going to be logarithmic or exponential. Immediately right out of the gate, we had millions of people that can see us, if that makes sense. And so I did totally organic. Obviously, you have to have either a website or social somewhere that people can actually see what you do for our first year. And then we started doing influencer marketing. So influencer marketing is basically our Instagram has like whatever, 15,000 or something. I don't know. But we started doing documentaries. I started reaching out to like mushroom influencers. And I was like, hey, would you like to come to our retreat and do all these wonderful things? Stay at a villa, go horseback riding, do ice bath, and then we'll take care of everything. We kind of pay for the flights.
And then they made documentaries about our content. And those documentaries, when I think about marketing, I always think about how do we create evergreen assets. Evergreen is a tree that never drops its leaves. It's just living, doesn't go to sleep. It's not dormant. It's just always existing. And so I think about marketing as how do we build assets, real estate with marketing that are just always going to be there, sending that good vibe, sending that good message about what we do. So it's literally creating all these rivers, all these channels of energy and information for people to come find us. And this is how I thought from the start. And when you just keep doing this, you're just building pillars that are already a foundation for your businesses for literally ever. And then, side note, if we want to sell this business, just look at all these assets that we have. Look at this amazing piece of real estate, and then you will get the equity of your company, which is something that is pretty cool to think about. Because the equity in the company is a lot. And you can retire. And you can do this again. 99 day retreats, right? And so this is what I've thought about from the beginning. So we started getting influencers come down. And then Aubrey Marcus is here. Is having somebody that comes out and then just talks about your thing. You start building up authority. You start looking for the one to go to, essentially. And then people are just finding you. And so we started doing this. And the snowball effect just works over time. Now we're shooting in a documentary for veterans on Ibogaine. So over time, we branched out and just repeated the process. We didn't just do mushroom retreats. We started doing Ibogaine retreats. And then we started doing couples after that. And so we're doing basically 3 retreat businesses now, just doing the same philosophy, the same methodology, and just continuing to grow these things. And I took a little bit I put 50,000 outside capital to just double the business. I was like, dude, if we just acquire this new location, it's kind of a game of numbers now, where we have 2 villas. One's a $10 million villa, another's a $7 million villa. And then we build the marketing up to fill these villas and then just keep doing this over time. And so it's literally just branching on new parts of the business. This is what literally scaling a business is. And so building these assets is a process of literally just seeing, cool, how do we do another one of these? Because you probably have an audience, you probably have people that are finding you. And so imagine if you just 10x that. You got 10 people that are your size or bigger. I'll kind of get into the door with influencers, have a million organic followers and be in our niche, wellness or something like that. And then we can do that with 10 other people. So imagine you just start a business and then you have 10 million people you can just talk to. And so these 2 methods are how we did this for the first year. And then we're just using directories and using influencers to grow our business, and then just not having that 7 years left. I think maybe. And then basically just basically being famous right off the gate without doing anything. Over time, I just started doing paid advertising, using that user-generated content. User-generated content is like content that's, hi, I'm a person, I'm having this experience. It's not our sending a videographer in. People love that stuff. It's the best stuff to run ads to. And now we're spending $100,000 a month in ads. Just basically, it's turning a fire hose on your business. After you build an offer that is locked in and is solid, then you just want to find ways to be louder, be noisier about what you do. And so that's what we've been doing. And how we think is just, all right, how can we even scale even higher? How can we do even more of this? How can we even help more people and find more access to really great work that we can do? It's a joy in life. And so really this whole talk today, if you guys take anything from this, is anything is possible. That you can do this. I'm not a hippie. I don't know even that much about psychedelics. My first year in this business was literally just shutting the fuck up and being, what is this? How did this even work? I don't have an answer still, 5 years into this. But I've been humbled and I've learned that this is just a magical medicine and it's a powerful gift. I've seen, I don't know how many atheists find God. I've seen so many couples that are on the verge of divorce find love, renewed and happiness and profound understanding in the relationship of themselves and their partner. And I've seen people just in addiction. Ibogaine is it interrupts addiction. And people that have no hope in life, they're addicted to alcohol, addicted to opioids, addicted to cocaine, have been able to just stop that and then be positive. We had this minivan mom come down a couple weeks ago and she's like, I'm an alcoholic. I have a great life. I have everything we're grateful for. And she went through Ibogaine and came out of this and was, I just don't have anxiety anymore. Right. And just is a bubble of joy after that. And so doing things for yourself and then doing things for other people, that's what really healers are. We walk a path, we find a solution, and then we radiate that solution to the world. So the scaleyourretreat.com is literally just how do you radiate that in a step-by-step process with no capital. I would bad habit is just bootstrapping businesses, which probably changes in play. It probably is easier with money. But this is what I built. And then we also have white label retreats. So the first year was finding chefs that aren't assholes, finding good people to actually make the business stable. And it was a huge headache, right? Because I'm in a second world country in Mexico. Everybody's living on the beach having a good time. They don't want to work all the time. And so it's going through all of those steps of the process is a huge headache. And if you have an audience or if you have the service that you provide, I just in my humble opinion, doing a white label retreat. For context, white label is basically we host a retreat with your brand. We show up. What's your business? What's the name of it? Activating Voice. So we are Activating Voice Retreat for that week. And we have 25 staff and service writers that are representing Activating Voice. And then you show up and just do your special sauce. Use your voice, activate them. And then we handle all the logistics. Hand them a mocktail when they arrive. Have our private security pick up from the airport. Take them through the whole wellness program with all our really skilled practitioners that have done this 1,000 times. And easy peasy. And you just take home half the revenue. And so this is what we have branched into as we do white label retreats now. So that's a way that you can do 2 or 3 of those and be like, do I want to do retreats on my own now? Or go learn from us, all our mistakes that we learned over 5 years and be like, I like that part. I like that part. I'm going to go take this and do this in my life. This is what the purpose of this whole business is teach you guys how to do this for yourself. And so basically those are the 2 ways that you can work with us. You can white label, or you can go to scaleyourretreat.com. Any information, I'll send you the whole course. If you nerd out on basically the steps in the process that I took to create a $5 million business right now. So I love you all. Thank you. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, we've got time for one